All right, Tony Ferguson, Beneil Dariush for the co-main event of the evening. Man, I'm happy for Beneil, but it's like, fuck. That guy is literally one of my favorite fighters, and I just hate seeing him on the streak he is, man. I mean, just, I want to say a fall from grace. Because, I mean, this man was the best lightweight in the world for the longest time, other than a Habib Nurmagomedov.
11 or 12 straight.
Yeah, and now we're just seeing it just falling off. Like, no disrespect to Beneil Dariush, because he is an elite contender in this division, and he proved it last night. Yeah. Not only with his striking, but his fucking takedowns and his jiu-jitsu. Everything flowed perfectly, and he did exactly what he needed to do to win that fight. It sucks because it's against a guy that just everyone loves, and this whole community gets around. Is Tony done? Like, I'm not going to say he's done in the UFC. He's obviously going to have fights, but I mean, like, is he ever going to be in title contention again?
So here's the thing: we have to look at Tony Ferguson and what he was able to do in this lightweight division. A former interim champ, won 11 or 12 fights in a row. I keep going back and forth. What is it? Is it 11 or 12?
I think it was 11.
11 fight, whatever. Either way, it's super impressive, right? 11, 12 fights in a row. He has been on a skid. Okay, yeah. He lost to Justin Gaethje, which I think that ended up taking a lot out of him.
Yeah.
That fight was brutal. I mean, remember when he was shaking his head and they ended up having to call it? Because, I mean, this guy is so incredibly tough. Almost got his arm broken against Charles Oliveira.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then the heel hook.
The heel hook with Beneil Dariush. I mean, say what you will about Tony Ferguson. This guy might be one of the toughest dudes to ever step in the octagon.
What does it take to get a man like that to tap?
You have to literally snap his shin.
Yes.
Or snap his elbow.
So his knee popped. Ask Beneil. Yeah. He said he heard a loud pop. His knee popped multiple times.
Yep. And his ankle did too.
Yeah.
Oh, God. His ankle was like flimsing. Oh, my God, bro.
And he went out and fought.
I know.
He fought another round like that. So fucking tough. Without a doubt, one of the toughest guys in the UFC. Right up there with Shane Burgos, I would fucking say. Like, that man just marches through shit too. It's crazy. And I have to say it. Do they do what they did to Tyron Woodley I can't even talk. Are they going to do Tony the way they did Tyron? Like, he's on a 3-fight losing streak now. One more. Is it done? Is he cut from the UFC? Do they want him to pay those paychecks? Because you know he's getting paid. Not the biggest money in the world.
But he's
definitely getting
the champ clause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a great point to make from a business standpoint here.
Because that's exactly what happened with Tyron. Like, one, Dana doesn't like him because of, the R-word stuff.
Yeah.
And Tony, I mean, how is his relationship with Dana? I'd love to know that.
Well, obviously his relationship's pretty good.
I would think
I mean,
so.
he asked Dana. He was like, "Hey, man," he goes, "Are we gonna bump up the win bonuses?" And he goes, "Yeah, let's do it." He bumped the bonuses up from 50 to 75K. So I think Tony's got a good relationship with Dana. But I was watching the post-fight conference. And Dana said, I don't know. Maybe that's a question we got to start asking here.
He goes, Father Time's undefeated, essentially.
It is.
Maybe it's caught up to him.
Because, I mean, at this point, like, who would you give Tony Ferguson? I mean, the one name that comes to mind to me, actually two names. Gregor Gillespie coming off that win last week, or a Paul Felder.
Putting him right out to pasture. I'd love the Paul Felder fight. That Gregor Gillespie fight, do not take that, my guy. Do not take that. Do not take an Islam Makhachev. That's probably what they'll do.
Or the rematch with Kevin Lee. That's how
Kevin Lee's going up to 170.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, that's what he said. He's called out Mike Perry, and Mike Perry apparently turned him down and all this stuff, so who knows what's going on there. But, yeah, I'd say there's two dudes you need to avoid, my guy, or else you will be cut from the UFC. It's Gregor Gillespie and Islam Makhachev. Like, those are the two guys. Like, I do not take that fight,
Yeah,
Tony.
he ain't taking the Islam fight, but I think he might take that Gregor fight.
I would love to see a Dan Hooker, Paul Felder, even an RDA. You could do that rematch. That rematch was fucking electric.
That's kind of the thing, though. I mean, now that we're talking about it, we look at every single one of these fighters in the lightweight division, and I'm like, I don't know if I want that matchup for Tony. That's not a good sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's not a good sign. And it's no disrespect to Tony Ferguson, like none. Again, one of the best lightweights, in the world at one point. But I don't know where he goes. Maybe a Drew Dober at 15.
Oh, my goodness. Ant W coming in hot, as usual. If Nick Diaz is coming back, do Nick versus Tony at 170. Give Tony one last big fight. Fuck yes.
I think it's a
I would love that matchup.
Yeah, and I think it would be a fight that Tony Ferguson definitely deserves.
Yes.
But But the question is that the best matchup at 170? I mean, Tony's a pretty small guy to begin with.
Yeah, but he has talked about wanting to go up to 170. One, he's cutting so much fucking weight. Once again, this is another guy who's a true 165er.
Yeah. As
fucking usual with most of these 155ers, let's be real. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, I would love that matchup. Like, let's be real. It's like, or you can do Tony and Nate at 170. Maybe it is time for Tony to move up, and just do a couple one-off fights. I wonder how many fights he has left on his contract. It's probably only a couple.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind seeing him go up to 170 welterweight. Why not? Why not? I mean, at this point in his career, if he's not going to fight for a belt again, go and make as much money as humanly possible in the most fun and entertaining fights as possible.
Absolutely.
Right? So a guy like Nick Diaz, I love that. Yeah, I love that suggestion. And that's a fight I'd love to tune in for. That could either that could either headline on a fight night or co-main on a pay-per-view. And
Absolutely.
I love it. I'd still be stoked for that fight. So.
Absolutely. That would be a fight that where they'd be like, yeah, let's do a 5 rounds. Why not? You're doing Leon versus Nate 5 rounds. Why not do Nick versus Tony for 5 rounds? That'd be fucking funner than hell.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
I'd like
Love that suggestion, my man. Let's move on to, I guess we got to talk about Beneil. We didn't even talk about Beneil.
Absolutely.
We got to talk about the guy. Obviously, he looked fantastic. He said, like you said earlier, he's going to take some time off. He wants to have his baby, have his kid. Probably doesn't going to fight for a while. Who does he wait for? Because now with beating a Tony Ferguson, now you get to pick and choose your matchups.
So let's talk about this. Okay, let's try to break down this lightweight division as best as we can. Dustin Poirier is going to go out and beat Conor McGregor. Let's take McGregor out of the situation. Okay, so Dustin Poirier gets the next shot against Oliveira. Okay, so that's set in stone. Right.
Then you get either Chandler Gaethje or you get Dariush Gaethje either early next year or late December or something like that.
Which I think there's the matchup. If Chandler has to take some time off, you go Gaethje. But I'll tell you, whoever doesn't get Gaethje gets RDA. In my personal opinion.
Beneil versus RDA, probably. That wouldn't be a bad matchup
That'd be a great matchup.
Yeah.
They're both on the up and up. They're both sniffing for a title. I mean, and it kind of sucks, for Beneil. I mean, he would then move to number 5 and then still fight a guy under him. I mean, he was 9 before this Tony Ferguson fight, and then he's got to go and fight number 7. It's not really that. It's actually a decrease in competition in ranking technicality. So you would almost want a guy like Beneil Dariush to take that Justin Gaethje fight. And honestly, I love the RDA Michael Chandler fight.
Yeah.
And I almost think that Beneil Dariush deserves Gaethje more than Chandler coming off a loss. As much as I'd love to see that fight. That's my ideal fight. And if they made that fight, I'd be like, cool, I ain't mad about it at all. Sign me up for that fucking fight.
I agree too. Actually, I agree with that.
But I think with Beneil on the up and up, man, he deserves to get truly tested with a number 1 contender. And Justin Gaethje is that guy.
And whoever beats Justin Gaethje, they're getting a title shot.
Yes.
So whatever matchup they make, if you beat that man, you're getting a title shot. Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably why RDA is not taking fights. He's waiting for a big matchup to fall right in his foot, whether it's Beneil or whether it's Chandler.
And even
I think Chandler
RDA
would be fantastic.
It'd be a freaking awesome fight.
That would be an amazing fight, and I would love to see it. So, really, yeah, it's super interesting right now. It's super interesting. Islam Makhachev is out there saying, what about me, guys?
Yeah. I know. Sorry, bro. I mean,
so
you deserve it. You deserve it.
Right. For real. If there's anybody Justin Gaethje should be fighting.
Yeah.
It's you, my guy.
We'll talk about Islam later, though.